There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Man, Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Fifth Dimension of Twilight Zone podcast. I am, of course, your host, Nick. We're back to talk Rod Serling's famous, iconic, ne'er-do-well trilogies of series of shows and movies and books, and I don't know what else. It's 2022. We have no idea what's going on in this world right now. But we're back. Like I said, we record, every week, or we at least try to. We talk about, each episode, week by week. As always, if you want to reach us, it is on my YouTube channel for the time being. I feel like if I put it onto another YouTube channel, I think we lose all the views. So I don't know how to do that, how to switch it over to another channel without losing views, but one day at a time, people. Yeah, wow. I don't think you can too, because YouTube's stupid sometimes. But anyways, you can all find us on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and Urine Cup Podcast and all kinds of podcasts and channels.
Steaming Cup of Uranus podcast.
Yeah. Exactly. Speaking of, before we continue, actually, I'll talk about that in a second, but let's go ahead and introduce my two co-hosts as usual. The first one, of course, is our woman in the window, the apex of the House of Space Jam. It's the original Tom and Jerry, Triv from Trivial Theater. How you doing, Triv?
Not sure how I feel being called Tom and Jerry. The movie was pretty
You're
awful.
The wackiest.
It's just razzied your ass.
Jesus. Well, it's appropriate given what I cover. I suppose I am Razzie worthy. Hey, Razzies, I want to be Razzie certified. Can you hook a chick up? Anyway,
exactly.
Yeah, not doing too bad. My next review is hopefully going to drop sometime here soon if I can actually get around to editing it. It involves a lot of head.
Yeah, just no more beating up them dinosaurs.
Yeah, thank God. I couldn't handle any more dinosaurs.
Exactly. And speaking of the devil, up next is the cosmic sin of the podcast, the man who out of death survived the game, but clearly is the fortress in life. And that, of course, is Jacob from Jacob Anders Reviews. But really, they are the Karens of my heart. So there you go.
There you go.
So what's up, Jacob? Yeah. So if you don't know,
much, I'm a little bit more
awake. No, so you're more awake.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more lively this week.
No, if you're wondering, the jokes are that I've named a lot of like movies that have been up for Razzies, and there's a whole category for just Bruce Willis. So he is cosmic sin and out of death and survived the game and Fortress of Life or some shit like that. I don't know.
That's not even all his movies that he made last year either. That's the sad thing. He made so many bad movies last year, they couldn't even fit them all into one category. Wow. That his movies totally ruled. What happened, Bruce Willis? You're a long way from Moonstruck.
True.
Not Moonstruck.
Moonfall.
No. We'll get to that in a bit. But no, what was the show he was on?
Moonlighting.
Is it?
Yeah, Moonlighting. Yeah. Moonstruck was with Cher and Nicolas Cage with a wooden head.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a different story, different podcast.
Someone was actually saying that Bruce Willis had early onset dementia, which is why he made so many bad choices.
Sure. So we're back as usual. As you're aware from last week's episode, Jacob decided to finally participate in the intro. And I want to say big congratulations and thank you to Triv for putting that all together as usual. And Jacob for probably the funniest thing I've laughed at all week because it was hilarious with him losing his shoes. And then I saw Triv's. It's like, I thought that was pretty funny. But we have a new intro now, which includes all three of us, which is awesome. She somehow made it work. And
it worked great.
Yeah.
Yours was good
too.
It
works awesome.
How many shirts did you have to go through?
About 8.
Oh my God.
8 shirts. Because I actually got on the 6th take. I actually got it, and then I realized I was wearing my headphones. So I'm like, son of a bitch! So I had to put on another shirt. Because once you spill once you spill something on your shirt, it's not longer good. So
my mom would say that you slopped your dripper.
Slopped your dripper. That sounds like something that should go in the lexicon.
Have at it. I mean, she is of that era, so have at it.
Yeah.
It's better than chisel your way through a cheap trick.
Well, my dad used to say he could, when he talked about people, he could say, or he'd say that guy could screw up a wet dream. So
Yeah. I think I say that sometimes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it piss upward? No, there's another one like piss upward or piss into the wind or something like
No, yeah, you never piss into the wind.
Well, duh.
Just don't piss in the wind. Pissing in the wind.
Her life was like pissing into the wind.
Hey, you know what they say? If you want to try and find out. Oh my god.
It's already gone off the rails. We're like 5 minutes into the actual thing.
Well, I was gonna say I found a Facebook channel.
A what?
No, I was gonna say I found a Facebook channel of dad jokes, so I was having my time this week.
Nice.
I think pissing in the wind for our generation, because we're not quite up to today's standard, or not standards, but comedy. But for ours, maybe be like, I don't know, puking on the Gravitron or something like that. I mean, anybody remember the Gravitron? I love it.
That was awesome.
Thankfully, nobody puked in it while I was in it before. I saw somebody puke in it afterwards, but not in it. But man, I was always kind of like, a small part of me always wanted someone to throw up on the Gravitron. But I know I would have regretted it afterwards. But as long as it kind of went out and then went back on them, I would have been cool with it. Well, as long as they weren't next to me. If they were next to me, that would have been a problem. But
I always think about the scene from Problem Child 2, where they're on the thing and then they get up and it's all like purple vomit going everywhere.
Yeah, Problem Child 2, man. Hell yeah.
Problem Child 2.
See, that's why I hang out with you guys. You guys remember the good movies.
That was filmed in my the last place I lived in Orlando.
Nice.
Problem Child and Problem Child 2. Yeah, wow.
There wasn't a 3, was there? Wow.
No, there was supposed to be, but they were already getting kind of raunchy. One of them, I think, is either part 1 or part 2 was like originally had an R rating.
God,
not be surprised.
Those movies were crazy as shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of crazy as shit, just to let you know,
nice link.
I know, right? Just a little bit of housekeeping rule notes at the moment. I've decided that I'm not usually one. This is Jacob's fault. I'm blaming Jacob on this one, but I'm not usually one for putting foul language on my episodes and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. I curse like a sailor, but yeah, I'm clean in the YouTube channels. We're not doing that here anymore. As long as we don't go like super raunchy, I'm fine. But yes, exactly. So
he's unleashed the beast.
So basically, we were already a not for safe work podcast.
Not for safe work. I mean, after you called my stuff a fucking cunt or fucking comment or fucking content, you're kind of lost.
We're not safe for work podcast. That's what it is. So be aware there will be some foul language. So if you need to hold your virgin ears, go the fuck away because we don't want you. No, I'm just kidding. We want you, but just be aware. So
if you want some really good fucking content, then you want to stay put.
We want you. We want you. We want to pop your virgin cherry.
We want to do what in the butt.
You're
God.
You're cursing virgin cherry. I just realized that could probably come across really creepy. I was talking about like language, not other stuff. Just throwing that out there. I should probably stop. This is what I do. I dig holes deeper. I just start talking and I don't stop. Don't know when to. I would have stopped.
Jacob.
Somebody say something or I'll keep going.
I just did, and you're still keeping going, man.
Oh, yeah, but you got to keep going. You got to like speak over me and like stop it.
I'm trying, but it's not working.
But speaking of crazy stuff, let's talk about A World of Difference today. The newest episode or the latest episode we're going to talk about in the Twilight Zone, which is season 1, episode 23, called A World of Difference, directed by Ted Post, written by Richard Matheson.
Nice.
What happened?
I think I watched the wrong episode. I watched 16mm Shrine Part 2. I'm sorry. Continue. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. My bad. That is why they brought me on, people.
I was like, oh shit.
I'm actually afraid I'll do that every week, by the way, that I'll watch the wrong one. And we'll get there. I'll be like, yeah, let's talk about this shit. We'll talk about something. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, the one I was talking about took place in like medieval England. What are you're talking about, like 1945? And then I'll have to be like, okay, guys, pause for about 24 minutes. I'll be right back.
Oh shit. Yeah, this episode is that kind of, but you gotta admit this episode is that kind of what's that word called? Like fucks you up in the head. It's
the mind fuck.
It's a mind fuck of an episode, but it's written by Richard Matheson, who is a famous writer, as we talked about before. It's episode or production code 173-3624, so 24th episode recorded, premiered on March 11th, 1960, and it stars Howard Duff as the main character, Arthur Curtis, Eileen Ryan is Nora Regan, David White is Brinkley, which I'm guessing that's his agent. One of them was his agent in this episode. I couldn't remember.
Brinkley was the studio head that they ran into later on in the show or in the episode.
Oh, okay. I thought that was his. Anyways, Gail Kobe as Sally, Peter Walker as Sam, Susan Dorn as Marion Curtis. I think Nan Adams is in this episode too at some point. I mean, we'll see. I think he almost gets run over by Nan Adams. So
he almost does. Yeah.
Yes. Except her name's Nora Regan, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all.
She's a gold digger.
She's a harpy.
God, a harpy.
She's take my money.
Anyway.
Triv was nice enough to follow me along. I know you were usually pretty busy there, Jacob, but Triv was nice enough to follow me along on this quest to watch this episode. And I'm like, I don't remember this episode. Then the episode started playing. It got to its twist really quickly, and I'm like, holy shit, I love this episode. I completely forgot what this episode was. And did you guys do the same thing? Did you guys watch and go, oh, okay, yeah, I remember this episode? I mean, I know, Jacob, you're always the one going, it's been 20 years, but did you remember this episode at all? Because
no.
Oh, okay.
Not at all. But I mean, like I said, like you said, I know I watched it, but no, I didn't remember this one at all. And those are my favorites, really. The ones I don't remember at all, because it's like, oh, it's for the first time. But not.
Feels like the first time.
What about you, Trev?
I don't remember this episode at all. Like I don't know if I've ever seen it. I can't for sure tell you one way or the other. But I enjoyed it.
What we're saying is you have a lot better memory than we do now.
Yes.
Well, you gotta remember,
flat,
I watched
so
you're kind of flat.
Just flat all around.
Exactly. Flat earther. You got a flat earther on our podcast.
I'm not a flat earther. That's bullshit. I'm saying I'm flat. It's bullshit. I didn't kill her. I did not. Or did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi,
Mark.
So anyways, so this episode opens up with a man in an office. A bunch of stuff happens. Not until Rod Serling does his opening narration, which actually starts literally like right after this episode goes into from the opening credits to the fade into the episode. So Jacob, have at it.
You're looking at a tableau of reality, things of substance, of physical material, a desk, a window, a light. These things exist and have dimension. Now this is Arthur Curtis, age 36, who is also real. He has flesh and blood, muscle and mind. But in just a moment, we will see how thin a line separates that which we assume to be real with that manufactured inside of a mind.
Bum, bum, bum.
By the way, fun fact, Howard Duff was actually 47 at the time of this, even though he was said to be 36.
Yeah, he don't look 36.
No.
I love when they bring in like it's like the Scream effect. It's like when you watch Scream, they're not like 16 and 17 years old. They're like,
and it was like 33 24. Years old is how old they were.
No.
Yeah, exactly. That's on the light end.
I've noticed that in like older or shows and movies like this one, the people, because they were older, I mean, I guess it's nothing new. They, like you said with Scream, they've been casting older actors in roles for like forever. But something about, even though they look older and say like Scream, in like older shows and movies like this one, they look a lot older.
Oh yeah.
Like you just didn't see 20-year-olds acting. You see like 30 plus. It's like you don't get to be an actor until you're over 30. So it could be somebody playing like or unless you're a kid, it's like somewhere in between like 12 and like 32, you can't act. Unless you're a woman, you could then. But like men, you can't act unless you're before 12, after 32. So they'll have like 47-year-old men playing 25-year-olds.
Basically. And any woman that looks like 30 is cast as a 60-year-old.
Yeah. That's
well, no, but there's an effect that that you notice when you're watching like sports or you're watching a TV show. The people in the show never really look the age that they are. So for instance, you may see like an 18-year-old baseball player. For some reason he looks 25. It's like a weird effect that goes on with celebrities. They never look as young as they're portraying. And it's just a really weird kind of effect. I don't know what that
Acting
is. Acting.
Yep,
They just know,
exactly.
they're just like
method acting. Yeah, I mean, they're just sitting there and they're like, I'm 18. Yeah, 25. Damn, it happens. That's how it works, man. I took acting classes in college. I know.
Nice.
Yeah, somebody better pick it up. I'm going to keep going with it.
so anyway, so
Porn acting or otherwise.
I'll tell a fucking story, man. I'll
So-
start making shit up.
Anyway, yeah. So
Yes,
tableau of
anyways.
reality. I love
Yes.
that line. That's so cool.
Yeah, he's basically like flesh and blood and muscle and mind. It's basically like don't believe your own fucking reason and logic in yourself because it'll never not steer you wrong. So, anyways, so this episode opens up with Arthur Curtis, who is a you all right over there? I think Jacob's gonna fall
Me?
over dead. Yeah,
I'm great.
he starts laughing
I'm
like
He really
great.
wants to tell that story.
I know he does. So basically, we open up to Arthur Curtis, who is played by Howard Duff. He is a guy, is a successful businessman living in San Francisco living in a city. He's going on vacation in San Francisco. Why you want to go on vacation in San Francisco? I don't know. It's the 60s. He has a lovely wife, Marion. The secretary comes in, is like, "Hi, Mr. Curtis. Hi, Mr. Curtis. Can I go to vacation with you, Mr. Curtis?" She's like all nice and sweet, and he's like, we're going on vacation, blah blah blah. And then he goes to his office, picks up his phone, and his own phone dies, or his phone's dead. And then that's when you hear cut, and you hear the wall, as you said, Trev, you hear the wall move. This is when I went, oh shit, I remember this episode. I remember exactly what happens here. We look over and they do the holy shit moment pretty early in this episode, like 2 minutes into the episode, or 3 or 4 minutes or whatever. And Arthur Curtis is staring at a film crew. What's going on here? Film crew. That type of thing. It's like, they're saying cut and so on and so forth. And Arthur Curtis is like, what the fuck is going on? I'm thinking of like what's that movie with Shutter Island, where they try to make him think he's crazy or whatever. He basically is approached by the director, who was like, you got to do the phone thing again. And this whole segment is basically Arthur Curtis going, what is going on? Where am I at? They try to tell him his name is Gerald Reagan or whatever. Reagan. They basically think he's like, his cheese is slid off the cracker. He's starting to like lose his mental capacity or whatever, because he's just like confused. He's like walking around. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. No, but I said,
that's great. I wish they did.
The cheese slid off the cracker.
Yeah, I love that.
But I gotta ask you guys, basically before he leaves and almost gets hit by Nan Adams, like he's walking around, people are trying to like help him out. They decide they're gonna go on lunch and let him like leave, because it's like his agent or whatever is letting him leave. I don't know, but before we get to the car with the with Nora, what did you guys think of that? What did you think of the overall got you moment, or the aha twist moment at the very beginning of the episode? Like, did you go holy shit? Like, what did you guys do? Because it's pretty fucking crazy what they decided to do.
The way that they did the long shots at the open, because it is like there are several relatively long shots in the open, and that perspective, like it was shot in a unique way. And I guess Twilight Zone episodes have that, where they do have a lot of interesting shots, but that was really good. The overall appeal, yeah, I mean, all of a sudden this person that you cast as an actor is suddenly going off on all this weird, I'm not Jerry, I'm Arthur, and all this stuff. And I mean, what else are you supposed to say? Like, dude, you're taking the method acting too far. You are not Daniel Day-Lewis, you're not Jared Leto, you're random guy that probably gets paid through the studio system. So get your shit straight, otherwise we're gonna call an ambulance on your ass.
Well, yeah, because he tries to call his house or something like that, and they have no idea who he is, and they've never heard of this Arthur Curtis, and they literally think he's
exist.
they literally think this guy's fucking lost his shit. And he kind of, if you think about it, you would too if this was happening to you.
Oh yeah.
But what about you, Jacob? I mean, did you go holy shit as well, or did you just go, there goes Rod, there goes Richard Matheson again, the lonely person?
Well, no, I was like, okay, cool. Well, I heard cut, and I was like, at first I was like, is he just gonna hear like a director directing his life or something, kind of like Stranger Than Fiction for the whole episode? But no, then he like sees the whole thing, and I was like, okay, that's cool. All right, this is maybe Rod Serling having some fun with the whole making a TV show and everything. But the first thing I thought of when after a couple of seconds, you get okay, yeah. He's gone from real life to a TV show. I was like, this is where I went with it. Is this where they got that idea for that episode of Supernatural? Where I don't know if you guys are familiar with that show.
Oh
They had an
yeah,
episode where they did
I know what you're talking
kind
about.
of sort of the same thing, but I mean, it was for different reasons, of course. But I can't help but think that they kind of took some inspiration from there. But that, and also when we get like some massive zooms on this guy on Arthur Curtis, whatever his name was,
Jerry Riggin.
and I was like, yeah, and he was channeling something. He was doing it, but all I could think of was, wow, those nostrils. And
Oh my
that nose
God,
hair,
his
but
nostrils were huge.
they were like black holes. It's like they were beckoning me, come to the dark side. And I was like a fly, a moth to a flame. I was just like, oh, I want to go in those. They're so cozy. I want to curl up in a ball and just get in those nostrils. I bet they're really cozy. But anyway, after that, but yeah, Triv noticed, or Triv said Daniel Day-Lewis, and I actually have that in my notes that I was thinking for a minute is like, okay, is this really happened to him, or is this guy gone like full on Daniel Day-Lewis method acting? And if so, that's a bit too much for this production, it looks like. But I mean, that's where I was at this point. He flips his shit and runs out, and I was with it, man. I didn't know exactly where it was going to go from there, but I was with it. I was enjoying the episode up to this point.
Well, I don't think it goes. Well, no, I would say I don't think it goes as far as like some of the episodes we'll see like 5 people in a search for an exit or something like that, or the one with
I remember that one.
Yeah, or the one in the mall with the woman and mannequins or whatever. It's like the night shift or whatever it's called. But it definitely has a thing that you're constantly questioning, like what is real. It's like I go back to Shutter Island. It's like you're constantly questioning what is real, what is not. Is he insane? Is he not? Because he has proof of all this stuff happening, but they're trying to say he's insane. But he, as we see at the very end, might not be like that. I mean, who knows? But sorry, Trey, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say at one point early on, they said something about you're killing the scene or something like that. And I kind of thought maybe there was something like he had gone into the afterlife, like he had done something that, like they give the subtle note or the subtle things that someone is dead, kind of like they did with Nan Adams, not to push on a meme too much, but I kind of had that thought for a little bit.
I'm with you. I forgot about that. You said that there were a few things they said when it all first started going down and the people were coming up to him. They were like, "What are you doing, Jerry? Get your shit together." And they were like, and I remember one of them said something. Somebody said something along the lines like, when he walked away, they were like, "We're gonna have to let him know he's screwing this up and this and that." And it's like they were talking about they. I was like, is he in like some type of like TV show that like some like alien overlords are overseeing or something like that, and like there's some type of thing like we're thinking, oh, it's just a TV show situation, and then it's going to be something much bigger than that. I mean, that's not where it went, but yeah, I picked up. I was trying to pick up. Maybe that's just watching these episodes. We're 20 something in now. I'm like, I know I've learned to like pay attention to some of the verbiage because a lot of the times it means something. Yeah, and I was probably reading a bit too much into it.
But that way it would have made as much sense as anything, honestly. The way it ends up, it does kind of follow that it could have gone in any of those directions.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been great to do the Stranger Than Fiction kind of idea.
I'll tell you what, Stranger Than Fiction is them nostrils, man. I'm telling you, I just can't get off them nostrils. They big, and he didn't just have like nose hair. It was like nose hair clumps. Yeah, 2 clumps in each one, just all up in there. Either that or like massive blockage. I don't know, but yeah, they beckoned to me. I see that they peered into my soul. They told me things about my future.
You stared into the void, but did the void stare back?
It did. It stared back. It reached out and caressed my face lovingly.
That's a real mystery of this episode. That mystery of the nostril hair.
Yeah.
Mm.
Nostril black holes.
When we get further in, I've got kind of a fun thing for you guys too. So,
but yeah, that leads into he runs out. But that leads into the next part where basically he runs out of the room or out of the sound stage, which we were talking about. They probably just use that same sound stage like a million times for the episodes of the Twilight Zone. But he gets out and he almost gets hit by Nan Adams or Eileen Ryan, who plays Nora Regan. I don't know, depending on what you feel. And she's what is she, Jacob? She
takes your money when I'm in need. Oh, she a gold digger. Yeah, she is. Hell yeah.
But they also
have flashbacks to my divorce.
But they also talk about how Jerry is a drunk and like just a kind of a we can't have you falling down again. So they were perfect for each other. I'm gonna say.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
She's
got a content.
Hey, if someone was holding back money that she was supposed to have, fuck them,
Exactly.
It didn't sound like anybody was holding anything back. It sounded like she was like, I'm taking you for everything that you're worth.
Very
just
possibly.
Because she seemed kind of I don't know, not very nice. She was not a very pleasant human being.
Yeah, she gets called a harpy at one point. It was like really like, oh, you're married to that harpy, and it's like, wow, that's unusual for like I would assume unusual for the way to call someone in the 60s.
Well, there is something in all seriousness that this episode dealt with that, and Nick may be getting to it, and as usual, I'm jumping the gun, but I did find it interesting. I mean, nowadays it's nothing, but I feel like it was kind of, I hate to say forward thinking because it's a bad thing, but how they were dealing with at least somewhat on-screen divorce in 1960. I feel like that's not something you heard about in that time. I mean, of course, people knew it was a thing, but on TV, you didn't, or in movies, they didn't talk about divorce and splitting up. And the only way you split up in TV and movies was somebody died. I mean, but she's like, no, this is full on like alimony and child support, or I don't know if did they have, I don't know.
That's basically like, alimony without calling it alimony.
Yeah, the whole thing there of like them splitting up and getting a divorce, no longer being married, and her just a little real. I mean, it was hyper real, but it was still a little bit of real world realism there for that type of thing. And I feel like that was kind of forward thinking. I mean, you look back at that stuff, you didn't see that stuff on TV back then.
They usually didn't see like women being abusive to the husband. It's usually the other way around. And
well, you had the nagging harpy wife thing.
This was like straight up like abuse. This is like full on. She's like,
she went,
and he's like,
yeah.
She's like, fuck this shit, and he just gets in the driver's seat. She's like, okay. She gets in the car and he drives like a bat out of hell through the lot, and she continues to yell at him. He's like in the driver's seat. They stop, and she continues to berate him like, shut the fuck up, woman. He's gonna run you into a sign or one of those screen picture things, and they're just gonna drive through it like Looney Tunes or some shit. Like, what the
He's gonna Nan Adams your ass.
Speaking of Nan Adams, I think they were made for each other, because speaking of when he drove off in that Batmobile that they were in, he came around that corner, man. Like it looked like he was on like some early 1990s hydros on that thing on 3 wheels. You look at it like one of the wheels legit was off the fucking ground.
Nice.
It's like he had hydraulics just activated him and came around that corner. I was like, holy shit, that wheel's not even touching the fucking ground right there. So, yeah, he was getting it. But you also failed to mention, you didn't mention the part where after they leave the set, the one guy, I think this is right before the commercial break, he comes on and he says, it's like a guy on the phone, I think, or something like that. He says,
that's his agent.
Yeah, he says the thing that's going on. He says something about he thinks this and blah blah blah. Like he tells the audience what's going on, and they had like this super dramatic music, like, holy shit, I didn't notice.
He even goes,
who didn't know?
He takes off his glasses, like,
yeah, who didn't know at this point what was? I mean, you don't know what's going to happen, but he's just telling you what's already happened. I was like, was that needed? I feel like everybody has picked up on what's going on up to this point. If you haven't, you just don't need to watch this show.
I will also say at this point, like the director, when he was standing out there by the car, he's like, wait, don't go with him. Like he's not himself. Like he was so unpassionate. He just was like, no, don't go. Somebody
Willy
stop
Wonka.
him.
It's like, no,
don't go. Don't do that.
Also, Jacob, you were talking about the amount of, like, obviously, the guy who ripped off his glasses and says, gasp. Jerry thinks he's Arthur or whatever. They said Jerry, what was it? 18 times they said his name, Jerry, before the break.
This is like a Beetlejuice situation. You say his name enough times, it'll come back to reality.
Well, the thing is, like back then, you look at like the 50s movie The Blob. Like every time they refer to Steve McQueen, he's like, oh, Steve. Well, hey, Steve, thank you for being here, Steve. Like that's kind of what they did then. But overall, they said the name Jerry 30 times in this 25-minute piece.
They're the original CinemaSins.
Oh my God. But I'm not trying to be pedantic, but it's like, holy balls. There are pronouns. There are, you can say you or hey, or you don't have to. They pretty much can assume that this person is still Jerry or, Arthur or whatever. We get it. You're talking to Jerry. You're not talking to, random guy in the bar, in the background or something.
But he
30 times.
My notes are pretty damn basic compared to you guys. You keep tallies of names and stuff. I need to step up my game.
No, that's just, it's one of those things that I just noticed.
The sequel of our podcast.
well, the thing is, like, for me, I have to outline the episode so I know what to go to next, and I still forget shit. So maybe you should make more notes, Jacob. Oh shit!
I thought I already took a lot.
You did. I just happened to, like, I noticed about halfway through the episode when I watched it that they said Jerry a ton, and I guess it made me think of The Blob and how many times they referred to Steve as Steve and not just saying hey you or whatever. So then I went back and I rewatched it and I kept a tally because it was something of note. I thought, I mean, you don't normally have, Rod Serling is not the kind to like put that kind of thing in there if it's not meant to be noticed. So he's basically slapping people across the face with a fish to remind them that, hey, this guy is Jerry. Hey, did you know this guy's Jerry? Hey, Jerry. What?
Well, the question I have is, it's written by Richard Matheson. Do you think Serling had any say in the episode? Do you think he's just like, we need to have more Jerrys in the, it needs to be like Rick and Morty, Jerry.
Well, I mean, he was in the war fighting the Jerrys. So maybe he was just, somebody said Jerry and he was like, we need more Jerrys. No, we need more than goddamn Jerrys. We need to shout Jerry a lot.
I mean, don't you think that
we know who you Jerry?
I mean, don't you think even still, like, even if Richard Matheson wrote it, I'm sure that Rod Serling would have had the final say over, hey, we want to make sure and drive the point home about what's going on.
I mean,
maybe.
We're at the end of the act. Is that the end of the act is with the guy, the agent. So I mean, whatever you have on the first. I mean, they say within the first 10, 12 minutes, Jerry 30 what you said 32 times.
No, it's 30. Shit? It's 30 times overall, but it's 18 times in the first 10 minutes or whatever, 12 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it could have just been a product of the filmmaking of the time. Honestly.
That's possible too. Like I say, they did it with The Blob, and I'm sure there was a lot of other stuff that they did that with. That's just always my go-to because it's what I always think of with that.
I mean, when talking about a product of the time or other things encroaching on the creative process of the show, I do feel like that thing I mentioned a moment ago, we were joking about it, about the guy, expositioning to the audience. I feel like that was some studio head that was like, I don't know if they're going to get it. Just throw a guy in there saying what happened real quick. Yeah. And that seems like some studio shit right there that would happen like in a movie or something. I do wonder if every now and then Rod Serling would, because the show was pretty heady, especially for its day. So I wonder if some exec over at CBS or whatever was like, no, you got to have somebody tell the audience they're bunch of fucking idiots. So, and that's why I just
wouldn't
like
doubt
put
it.
this guy in there because it was kind of a random thing. I mean, it was after they drove off, if I remember correctly. So they had left that, and then it just goes back to this random guy on the phone. He's like, "Oh yeah, this has happened." And it's like, why did that? I mean, it was so much so that I took note of it. I was like,
Right.
that seemed very unnecessary, but okay. Now we've got it. We're clear on everything. Moving
Ideally.
on.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, a lot of this episode is about mental illness, and a lot of it is about the studio system and how it fucks with how it fucks with people and all that good stuff. But I mean, like the first part, you're just like, I think Richard Matheson has this thing about where he likes to kind of, keep you off balance and just kind of I don't know, weird state of mind trying to figure out what the hell's going on. You look at like Mega Man or whatever, the one Will Smith or whatever that was, I Am Legend. You're
Mega
like,
Man.
he's there for a reason, but you're never like, you're always kind of just never in the spot you need to be. You always feel like you're behind on everything, and that's kind of like what's happening here a little bit.
Oh, Mega Man. I thought you said Mega Man. I was like, the NES game? Where are you going with this? The little blue guy with a
To
laser?
moon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're always behind on that one. You're always like falling back behind and shit. No, the Omega Man. Yeah. No, but
okay,
like that's what Richard.
Oh, Mega Man.
This is my Mega Man face. Omega.
Oh God.
See, I told you. Sometimes I say stuff that just comes out wrong. So there you go.
It's all right.
Oh no! I mean, you said it fine. I just didn't hear the O. I was like, I just heard the Mega Man. I was like, what? Little Capcom guy? What?
But overall, like, do you agree? You're just kind of off balance in this episode. You're never really kind of in the place you need to be. You're always kind of struggling to keep up with like the ideas of like what is going on here, what's going on here, what am I going, like, am I crazy? Is this guy crazy? Like, what the hell's going on? That's how I felt after the first act. I was like, holy shit, this is fucking with me. I don't like it.
Well, I took notice. It was actually probably a few minutes into the second act, but that I noticed it. But it's relevant here too. Howard Duff, the guy who played Arthur Curtis or Jerry, he's over the top. The whole episode's kind of like that. He's not over the top. He's a product of the time of the acting. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the acting in this was like super real, like it was with the Purple Testament. But he did a really good job, because it made me feel really uneasy and stressed out as he was being stressed out throughout the episode, because he was like stressing the whole time. He's like, ah! Like by the end. And I was like, I honestly kind of felt for this guy, and it did kind of make me feel a little bit stressed seeing all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is like weirdly stressful to me that this guy is like, just what the fuck? What's going on here? Put me back in my place. So
yeah, I mean,
think he did a really good job of that.
Yeah, you have bosses like going yelling at you to get back on stage. You have a wife or ex-wife that's gold digging. You just have all kinds of shit that's just piling on. It's like, no wonder why we lived only 80 or 60 or whatever they were living to back in the day. It's just too much stress in our life.
I do think too.
37.
Yeah, exactly. I do think too, like they talked about, and obviously this comes into play a little bit more later, but he talked about the Brinkley talked about later on, wanting to get to a more simple place. Given everything that he was up against at that point, you could see the escapism on his face, and if he did truly crack, or what actually happened. So,
well, let's actually talk about that. Let's get into the second act then. So they're driving through the same street that every Twilight Zone that has a idyllic place to live. I swear this was filmed on the same street as the Monsters do on Maple Street. But they're driving by houses. Yeah, so they're driving by houses. One looked like the house from Elegy, and whatever Nora the gold digger and Gerald pop up at their house, and it's like this nice house. But we started laughing like, "Hey, look, there's a sprinkler with a hose attached to them. It must not be that rich. They must need a sprinkler with a hose attached to it to water their grass." But Brinkley is there. I guess from what I'm reading in Wikipedia, it is his agent. And he walks in and she's yelling at him. And he's like, if you don't get back to work, you're going to lose your job. They're like back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And no wonder why he's sitting on the couch. And, like after like it fades to black, because I think he passes out or some shit, whatever happens. But it's crazy because like this agent's trying to talk him down from like jumping out the window of like a 1-story building or whatever. And it's just like this poor guy, man. He's like, the stress is even more. He probably like broke his shit when he finally collapsed in at the end. But like I gotta ask you guys, like all this shit is happening, what would you do in this situation? I mean, like this is like he's talking about like he works for like the Arthur Davis Society. He tries to make a call. There's no one's like knows what he's talking about. He's losing everything. Like I don't know, I stress out sometimes, but I feel like you would need some like hard drugs to just get under control. Like I don't know how you guys would handle this situation. But they talk about canceling the production. Yeah. They talk about they're going to cancel the production. They're going to let him go. And then they finally decide, oh, no. We're just going to, let you rest for a day. And then they say, oh, we're shutting down production. It's just like, man, this is Jesus Christ. But I mean, what did you guys?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was stressful.
Yeah.
It was like legit stressful as hell. Like that. I don't know if it was his performance and the way that they just paced the episode and everything. It was like at the end of the second act, I noticed that I was like, man, I'm feeling very stressed for this guy right now. And I was sitting there just like, what would you do in this situation? Is so unfathomable that you're like, I think that's one of the things that stressed me out is the guy just wants to get home and get back to everything he knows. And seemingly there is no way back. It's just, It's just gone. It's like it never existed. So it's like, what the fuck do you do in that situation? Not only did you lose everything, but you're thrust into this other situation that's like just not good. I mean, it's what the hell? I mean, and I'm pretty sure he's living in the same house as 16 Millimeter Shrine because I think that set looked familiar.
No, that's
I've seen it somewhere.
Elegy, the old man. I think they even had the same chair sitting at the top of the steps from Elegy, where the old man goes up there and like sits down and turns himself off or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always get those two confused. Well, the sets
that's
confused.
Okay.
I think I did with that one too. But yeah, that we've seen that set before. That's for sure.
Yeah,
he just goes in there and like you said, I don't know if he passed out or not, but like the next scene, he's just like sitting in a bed, all like really weird looking, like this.
Yeah, he looked pretty.
Like
stressed.
I was like, he is not sleeping. No one sleeps like that. He's just like, and like his eyes are closed. The guy walks up and he just kind of like shoots his eyes up at him, like what the fuck. And the guy's saying shit to him, and I just saw like the look on his face. He's just like, "Are you fucking serious? Shut the fuck up! If you have nothing constructive to add to this shit, just shut the fuck up and go away."
I just love how she's like, Nora's like, "Where's your checkbook at? Like, give me your checkbook. You owe me money." I'm like, this dude's going through.
Yeah, she wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got too much.
Nuts. I was like, oh my God, just lady, stop. Just fucking shut up for a minute, please. Jesus Christ. Yeah, she was that was an accurate depiction of like those types of situations. Not that, I mean, I don't know what those types of situations would be when you're ripped out of reality and put on a TV show, but whatever.
Yeah.
I feel as if that would be accurate.
One fun thing, so the she spells out his first and last name when she's trying to get him to sign the check. And she spells Reagan like Raigan. They were trying to keep the name separate from Ronald Reagan, who was the head of the Screen Actors Guild at the time.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Future American president.
Yes, that as well.
For those of you that don't know. You know, there's people that don't know that now. That makes me feel old.
Yeah.
Moving on, though. Let's just throw that out there.
Well, I mean, I had someone who's never seen The Matrix before, so I'm like, I mean, it's just the world's in chaos. But Jerry is in the bread, looks distressed. Jerry's agent, Brinkley, calls his wife a harpy. Apparently, they're canceling the production of the show. Is now dead. He shows him the script, which actually is a description of Arthur Curtis, and he freaks out at Jerry. he decides he's going to make a break for it, head back to the set. And then Brinkley's like, they've dismantled it. You can't go back there. And he goes back there anyways. And they're doing that. And we were talking like how quickly they've torn down. They're starting to tear down the set. I'm like, I think I've seen like if you go to a concert, they tear down that shit pretty quickly. But he gets
there's
on the
a lot
set.
more to a fully furnished studio set than what you would have on a concert set, though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you looked and it was all the books and all the little knick-knacky things, but yeah, they did a shit ton over the course of like 3 hours.
We didn't even talk about Jerry stops at the
girl?
house. Yes. He sees Tina, who he thinks he's Tina, and he grabs her.
Lord.
And it's like, yeah, she's freaking out. And I'm like, go to jail for attempted assault. And his ex-wife tells him to get in the car. I'm like, damn, not only they're just going places in this episode, like they're literally going places that no TV show would ever go. And especially in the 60s.
Get in the car, Jerry. You're going to jail. If you go to jail, I can't get your money. Get in the car, Jerry. You're right.
Yeah, her tone was like, she went between, like, she had some weird tones. It was like the money thing was underneath everything, but then she's like, oh, well, you know, there was, I don't know if it was concern or conceit or what when he was like, when he grabbed the kid.
But
I don't know.
It was
yeah, exactly.
But
and the kid looked nothing like the picture of his kid. It's like, how did you, okay, besides being a little girl, there's nothing that compares the two. They're not even the same age.
It was a kid.
Dork.
That's all that mattered.
Yeah, exactly.
He was that was just showing the absent father part of his character.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know what his kid looks like. We gotta go deep. Rod went deep with that shit.
But he makes a break for it. He gets on the road. And I made a joke to Triv. I'm like, this must be the footage, because they do like that sped up footage of the driving. I'm like, this must be what Nan Adams sees right before she hits someone, because he's like weaving out of the road quickly and shit, and it's fucking nuts. But he walks back on set. They're removing everything. He walks to his place of business where he works, his office. Thank you. The word I couldn't remember.
It's all right.
And he looks at the black frame with no pictures on it. Then he puts his head down to his face, and he's like, "There's no place like home. There's no place like home." That's exactly what I was thinking. He wakes up and he's back in the world
Clicks
of
his
Arthur.
ruby loafers together.
Exactly. But he wakes back up and he's now back in the Arthur Curtis world, and there's a secretary, and his wife just kind of appears out of nowhere, and he just kind of goes off to fly to San Francisco, and he hears like the workers, the grips and stuff working kind of like in the background of like whatever. And the plane takes off, and all of a sudden Brinkley comes in. He's like, have you seen Gerald? And people are like, yeah, he was here, but you know, we haven't seen him, and nobody can find him. And that's the twist. Like, what the fuck happened to Gerald? Did he run off screaming, or did he actually go back into where he was really at? It's just like, holy shit. And we see the book, The Private World of Arthur Curtis, and kind of where the episode ends. But it's it makes me wonder, like, what happened to Gerald? Like, did he really go back into like his dream world? Is he like on the ground shivering with cold, just smiling because he's back in like a reality that he remembers? Like, what do you guys think?
I the way they described it, and I guess the way Brinkley kind of said, you know, we all want to escape to another world. And just the way that the end, like the epilogue kind of takes you, it does kind of seem like he disappeared into his role, like literally disappeared into his role.
Like an actor like Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, but in this case, he actually disappeared into the story itself. Maybe not.
I felt like, I know I brought this up a couple of times, but I'm going to say it again. I really felt like this was a reverse 16mm Shrine. Like he went out of the picture show into real life, and vice versa. You know, she went into it, and you have the person that, like, I guess the guy in this didn't really realize it, but you know, you get the guy looking for him, and there they were, or whatever. I don't really know what underlying text there was to this whole thing, but I liked it.
I did too.
I don't know what he was trying to speak to. If anything, maybe it was just a fun idea.
Well, maybe it's us escaping from reality. We always want to go to a better place, and what we're
Grass
in.
is not greener.
Where like, for instance, like we're dealing with a situation now, and we're going into like, when we go see movies and shit, it's just like we want to escape from reality. We want to escape from the doldrums and the yelling harpies and the all kinds of stuff. And when you're brought back in that reality, it's kind of dull and boring and stressful. And when you go see something like, I don't know, South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut, it's funny and jokey and see clitorises and all kinds of shit. And it's just like, I think that's what the point of it is. It's an episode about a guy who got stressed out and he broke from reality
For escapism.
So
I mean, the tableau of reality thing was really interesting. Like just that turn of phrase. I don't know. I don't know. Go ahead, Jay.
But which one's the real one? Is the real one the Arthur Curtis or
Aquaman?
The other guy, Jerry. I mean, who's the real guy? Who's the real one? Which is the reality and which is the fantasy? It's like,
it's a good question.
I really don't know.
I think that's a debatable question.
Was he in the reality in the beginning and then the whole show was the fantasy and then he went back to reality? Was it like him just kind of having a mental break and maybe it was all going on in his head? Or was that the fantasy and he escaped the fantasy and went to reality for what? I don't know. I really don't know which one it is. Is he living in a fantasy now? Or is he living in reality and he just had a taste of that fantasy that people have always, being in Hollywood and being a star is so great. And he just found out, shit, no, that sucks.
Well, I mean, if you want to look at it in its most literal interpretation based on what's on screen, he disappears for the day from being Arthur Curtis. Like, where have you been all day? And his wife tells him. And then when he disappears, like when they go looking for him at the end, they can't find him. So maybe, I mean, that's he transcends into a different plane of existence. It almost seems like, if you want to go by a literal interpretation of what happens, which is neither here nor there.
I feel like Serling and Matheson were trying to say something here, but I can't really sit here. Like sometimes in the episodes you can pick out and say, this is a euphemism for that or this or all that. And they were trying to say this. And here, I don't know exactly what they were trying to say. I'm man enough to admit that, but I did like it. I like this episode.
Do you think it's a case of losing yourself? Like maybe the person he was before he got into acting, maybe he just had a literal going off of somewhere else and he found himself again. I don't know. That probably doesn't make sense, but
I mean, maybe. And maybe honestly, and maybe it is that. Maybe it's something else. I don't know, but it might just be these guys who are making this TV show for this time, and that studio world said, "Hey, you want to know? It'd be a cool idea." I mean, it could have just been a fun idea. I have no idea, but like I said, I liked it.
Like the one thing that stayed with me, and I guess I mentioned it before, but it was like you get those actors, and I don't know that you had, like, I'm sure there were actors that kind of went down that road, but just that hardcore level of method acting that you see with a lot of people. They live the role, they breathe the role, and I don't, like I say, I don't know how much of it they had back then, but I mean, you look at Daniel Day-Lewis, you look at, to some extent Jared Leto, others like that, they
Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Or if you want to go like Tropic Thunder, I don't, Robert Downey Jr.'s character, I don't drop the accent until I do the DVD commentary.
And you never go full retard.
It's
I don't know.
What do you think, Nick? We've been kind of gabbing back and forth.
I mean,
I was about to say.
Well, no, I mean, I kind of told you my personal feeling on the episode before she stretched into
I don't know what
giraffe.
happened there. I apologize.
No, I just think it has to do with the stresses of life, and like I said, about the concept of us trying to deal with the difficulties of things and how we find things to take our mind off stuff. I mean, we're doing a podcast about the Twilight Zone, and we're taking our minds off the realities of like take care of kids, I take care of my 2D self,
banking.
Banking. That's take care of banking, or I have to figure out how to get my tax returns done and shit. It's like, you watch the fucking news. It's like this. I don't watch the news. It's so fucking depressing. When you can go watch, I don't know, Showgirls or striptease or I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Don't do
But
that.
I mean, you can watch Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah, you can watch No Way Home or something. Spider-Man No Way Home.
Town with no name.
Yeah,
exactly.
play the town with no name. Play Custer's
Mystics
Revenge.
in Bali.
It's about that's my opinion. Like I said, we all have different opinions of what that means, but that's how I look at it. So, but with that said, that'll lead us into I want to see Jacob do this closing narration. This is quite the closing narration.
Yeah, it is. All right. The modus operandi for the departure from life is usually a pine box of such and such dimensions, and this is the ultimate in reality. But there are other ways for a man to exit from life. Take the case of Arthur Curtis, age 36. His departure was along a highway with an exit sign that reads, "This way to escape. Arthur Curtis, en route to the Twilight Zone."
Now, if that's not the most depressing closing narration you've ever read in your entire life, I don't know what is. He's literally talking about our reality ends up in a ground in a 6-foot box. So why not? Fuck it. Let's escape to to another reality in VR. Let's go in VR and watch sex VR games and I don't know what else. Half-Life, Alex, and what
coming to live stream.
But isn't there a certain level of hope about that? The fact that his route did end differently.
But that's the thing. Like they're talking about, as it says, his departure was along a highway with the exit reads, "The way to escape." He's escaping from reality. I mean, in essence, he's escaping in the Twilight Zone.
But he's escaping to something happier. Like he's able to be with the people in that perspective.
I guess that's how you look at it. Yeah.
I don't know. I saw it as like it doesn't have to end the way it did for everybody else.
Or maybe, I mean, we after reading the closing narration, he talks about, I'm assuming he's referring to reality being where he inevitably ends up being.
Yeah.
If we look at it that like where he goes on the trip with his wife, that's actual reality. The other was so yeah. In that reality, I mean, I'm assuming death is in both. But let's say I think he's saying that the way out is a pine box in that reality. That's reality. It's not a fantasy. There's not a bunch of over the top great stuff that happens, but that's where your happiness is. That's your reality. That's where you feel good. That's where you belong.
Yeah.
And yeah, the end is a pine box, but it's not just about the pine box of such and such dimensions. It's about the ultimate reality of what you do with that time before you get in that pine box of such and such dimensions. Yeah. Maybe I'm looking way too far into it, but
I mean, this isn't the episode. What is it? A Trip to Willoughby, or just a Willoughby that. Yeah. It's not that episode. It's I kind of took it as he transcended what was in front of him. He took a different route. I don't know. I saw it as, even though it's not positive, like what he found, we don't know exactly what that is, but
he took a left to Albuquerque.
At the signpost up ahead, the Twilight Zone.
Yep, exactly. He got back to his people, and I don't know, that seemed positive to me.
What do you mean his people?
Yeah, I mean his wife and his kiddo.
What do you mean you people?
Yeah. You people is what I'm talking about with you people.
But yeah, that's the episode. That is a world of difference. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about on it before we get into the ranking?
I had one disappointment with it.
What's that?
Maybe you guys caught something I didn't, but I didn't have anything to add to the Twilight Zone lexicon this week. And
yeah,
I'm kind of upset by that.
What about
yeah, but it didn't come from the episode. The cheese and the crackers.
No. There was let me find it. Chisel your way through a cheap trick.
Oh, was that in there?
Yeah, that was.
Where? I don't remember it. I mean, that's awesome.
No,
I mean, you can use my mom's one of slop your dripper, but again, it wasn't from the episode.
It says Jerry drives crazily through the street. Chisel your way through a cheap trick. Was after she stopped? After they're on the set, and after he stops, she goes, "I'm gonna bleed you dry," and then she says, "It's like a chisel. You're gonna chisel your way through a cheap trick or something like that."
Okay, cool. I'll take that. I like all those words put together. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Did I
good.
spell it wrong?
Got
it. Okay. Cool.
No, spell check. Got it. You may have spelled it right. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But I changed some letters around, and spell check said, "Oh, you mean this?"
But you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about at all?
So official count. The name Jerry was said 30 times. The word Gerald was said 3 times, and Arthur was said 10 times.
Damn, I gotta up my game.
What? Because I kept track of names. It's just like a random thing I did.
I feel like I lost a bet now and I owe like Jacob money or some shit.
Well, you probably do at one point or another, but
Really?
that's between you,
Really?
him, and the town with no name.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ooh. Don't ever come between me and the town with no name. Get ugly.
Oof.
Okay, so with that said, we'll go ahead into the rankings list of the Twilight Zone list with rankings and numbers and episodes and the what was it? Perchance a Dream above everything else because Jacob likes that, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
The middle section is no
shit.
longer escape clause. So is it better than Third from the Sun?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I really like this one. And I could be crazy, but I would almost put it like
Let's
number
get crazy.
like 6-ish. Am I crazy?
Maybe, but that's not the real question.
Yeah, it could be the real question.
I don't know. Like,
I think
is
it's
it
better than. I think it's better than the what did you say? Third from the Sun, because that episode. I think it was the episode that was it Elegy? Yeah. When we talked about Third from the Sun, and I was like really big on Third from the Sun. Then I kind of realized after a discussion with it, it's really the ending that makes that thing. But the whole thing, I really like this whole episode. I thought it had some really good ebb and flow. I would say, in my opinion, yes, it's better than that one. It's better than Elegy.
Is it better than Time Enough at Last?
Time Enough at Last. Which Time Enough at Last was the one with
the glasses.
With Burgess
Mickey.
Meredith. Yeah, the
Mickey.
glasses.
And Mickey.
Could have been a contender. I don't hate it, but I don't love Time Enough at Last as much as some people. I think it had a good not a hook, but like a good ending. It's kind of like a Third from the Sun. I thought Time Enough at Last had a really good ending that sold it all. The rest of it was kind of like, I mean, we had a pretty good portion of this guy just walking around this 1960s post-apocalyptic world. I mean, that kind of got old after a bit, but I would say I think it's better. I think it's better. What?
I said it's like Two Towers. It's a lot of walking. No, Two Towers, as in Lord of the Rings.
I know what you're talking about.
Good.
Are you making fun of the Lord of the Rings?
I'm not making fun of Lord of the Rings. I am only saying that it is a movie about a lot of walking. And you cannot deny that point. There's a lot of other stuff
You've
too.
been watching Clerks 2 a lot.
I did, yes. Pull your shit together, Jacob. For God's sake, you puss.
I declare. Okay.
Y'all done slopped your dripper.
I think it's I do think it's better than Time Enough at Last, but let's see, what One for the Angels, Perchance a Dream, Hitchhiker. Man, I like the Hitchhiker. It's not better than Purple Testament.
I don't think it's good enough. I don't think it's as good enough as Time Enough at Last, because the Time Enough at Last has that that ending just it's fucking insane. Like it is one of the most it's like one of your worst nightmares.
It's depressing as shit if you get to thinking about it.
Yeah, it is. Like he almost
as one that wears as one that wears massive glasses. Like if they didn't cut them down, would wear Coke bottle glasses. Yeah, that sucks ass.
And One for the Angels has a really good message, and like for me personally, I would put it above Mirror Image, below Hitchhiker, but that's just me because I think the Hitchhiker is just like one of the best episodes in the series, and I don't know. It's hard. It's hard with the Hitchhiker.
Put it under Hitchhiker with a Mirror Image.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that.
I like it better than Mirror Image, but I think I kind of like the Hitchhiker a bit better. I think this one was good, and it had a really good flow.
Yeah, it was a solid episode front to back.
Like I said, yeah, I'm not as high on Time Enough at Last as some. I don't dislike it. Well, like I said, I feel like it's kind of bottom heavy. But yeah. So yeah, I would go with, I could put it under Hitchhiker, but above Mirror Image. So number 8.
I can do that.
So we're good with that. Yeah. It's like the quickest we've been in like the last couple of weeks.
As long as the fever stays last place, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna make Fever number one. I'm gonna let everybody pick episodes of Change, and I'm gonna make Fever number one. I got
need to bump
Fever.
16 millimeter Shrine up though.
Yeah, same.
Well, I have a
That's
feeling
just this is like 16 millimeter Shrine Part 2. I'm just saying.
I have a feeling you're gonna bump Perchance to Dream if we ever did that.
Perchance to Dream.
That's fair.
Perchance to Dream was.
That's one where they dies in the dreams.
Yeah, that one. I liked where they went with it, and I liked the idea behind it where they went with it. But oh my god, that whole middle section, the dreams and everything were just the fuck is going on here? Which it's just drug on like Cat Lady who just looked like I don't know, a lady with makeup, not even makeup, just like legit like eyeliner. I'm a cat lady because I've got dark eyeliner on. It's like you look like an emo kid in high school.
Hey, for some people that is Cat Lady.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that'll do it. I think that's a good spot. So number 8 is World of Difference. Number 1 still The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. Number 23 is I Got a Fever, Fever of Diarrhea for that episode. So
what?
Yes, Fever of Diarrhea.
Feverish diarrhea. That's what he's got.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right. I don't remember that part, but that's okay.
First, you eat the food, then the 4 of you are dying, then you get the fever of diarrhea. So
good
that's
Lord.
yeah. I don't know where I'm going with that.
I have no idea.
Exactly. So with that said, the next episode is season 1, episode 24, which is Long Live Walter Jameson. This episode written by Charles Beaumont and stars Kevin McCarthy, who actually did appear in the Twilight Zone movie as Uncle something. It's a Good Life story with the kid and the weird mouth closed girl. And
oh yeah, he was the
really
older, the grandpa uncle, really, but yeah, the older guy.
Yeah, he
It's
played
both the grandpa
guy.
and the uncle. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, he was old. He was like the oldest guy of the house, but I guess he was an uncle. But he kind of gave grandpa vibes.
And then he was R.J. Fletcher,
obviously,
and he was Scrimshaw in Interstellar.
Oh, nice.
Or Interspace, not Interstellar. Interspace.
I was gonna say Interstellar, or no, Interspace. Yes, love Interspace. Martin Short,
forever.
Dennis Quaid, Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan.
Yeah. Fucking Martin Short. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll look forward to that the next week. It's a World War II story, I think, or I don't know, something, Civil War story. So we'll look out for that.
Yeah.
But
2,000-year-old man of some sort.
But with that said, that'll do it on season 1, episode 23, A World of Difference. Once again, we're out. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Triv and Jacob, for coming on as usual. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just whatever.
That's what I do in my videos, man. Speak with those hands.
You know what? You guys are.
I used to do this, and I just started.
It's like the robot.
I feel weird that I can't do that. I'm kind of upset by that.
Well, I mean, you always have powdered toast, man. So
yeah.
Grab his succulent buttocks.
But
hold on tight, Jacob.
I will. I'm gonna make a Photoshop of that or something.
I think you should.
Yeah.
You know what you do?
But
you should like review like one episode of Ren and Stimpy where Powdered Toast Man is featured, and then that can be your thumbnail.
Man, if I had thought about it, it would have been my thumbnail for that movie.
That
documentary about.
You can always change it up.
Stimpy. Damn. Missed opportunities, I guess.
That's okay.
Ain't nobody watching that shit now.
I feel that loud and clear.
But Jacob,
yes.
when you're not watching the VRs and the Powdered Toast Men, where can they find your channel and stuff?
You can find me on youtube.com at Jacob Anders Reviews and Jacob Anders Gaming. I have 2 channels now, technically 3, but we're not going to talk about the other one. I haven't updated in over a year. Yeah, I ain't got no intro. But yeah, check those out. Check out my gaming channel. I just started it. Don't have many subscribers. Trying to build that up. That's where I'm going to be doing streams and stuff, which I am getting stable internet tomorrow. As of the recording of this video, by the time you see this, I should have good internet, or I'll be really pissed that I spent a lot of money on shit internet again. We'll find out. Time will tell. Have a new review coming out tomorrow, which by the time you see this, it'll be last week, but whatever. It's about some stuff falling from the moon, maybe, possibly. I don't know. That may have given it away, but yeah, go check that out. Check out whatever else I decide to put out between now and then, and beyond. And yeah, that's me. There you go. Check out my gaming channel and streams and stuff. Yeah, Triv.
And Triv, when you're not making a world of difference.
I would say that you should totally check out Jacob's gaming channel. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Well, check out Triv's channel too.
You can
make me look like a dickhead. She's
no,
yeah, check out his stuff, and I'm like, check out all my shit.
Stop it, you dork! I'm gonna spray you with water or some shit. Don't even have water. Whatever's in this cup, I'm spraying on you for being silly and whatnot.
We
know
what's in that cup. We know what's in that cup. The steaming cup of your anus.
Oh, good Lord. I don't have an anus. I literally don't exist from the waist down. Anyway.
You need to get on that.
Yeah, I know.
Remember what we were talking about earlier? What in the butt?
Damn it. I knew I should have led with that. Hey, Triv, so when you're not what in the butt, where can they find your channel? Damn it. I missed out on the opportunity. Son of a bitch.
Well, you can go check out Jake's gaming channel for one. You can also find my content on YouTube at Trivial Theater. By the time this drops, I will have released probably one of what is the most what is one of the most batshit crazy movies I've ever done. It's called Mystics in Bali, and it is just insane. But it's awesome and fun, and it's pretty exciting. You can also find me on Twitter at trivia_chick.
Cool.
And make sure to check out Jake's gaming channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get our ass over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You'll say wow if you see it. You're like, wow. There's
it is pretty wow.
Here. All right. And so you can reach me at Movie Emporium. I do videos. I have a lot of videos coming out, especially this week, as you'll learn from next week when a lot of videos. I've gotten videos. Anyways, my channel is YouTube, Movie Emporium. If you also want to listen to us and not see our faces, we're on Apple and Google podcast services and some other services, whatever. I don't know at this point, but we're on services through anchor.fm and whatnot. They put all the podcast feeds and all that good stuff. Exactly. And with that said, for myself, for what in the butt Triv, and for whatever Jacob seems to be every week, I don't know. We'll see you guys on the next episode of
In the butt.
Exactly.
Doing the
Peace
butt.
out, everyone.
Bye.
Wow.
Take on me. Yeah. Take on me. Yeah.
She blew out her mic.
That happens a lot.
You blew it out.
That's what she said.
Shit, we're never getting through this episode. I love it.